Greetings and welcome back to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. We are talking about all this gear. I can't believe I've made this much of a mess that I am taking with me to India. I know it looks like a lot. The bag is about 25 pounds. I weighed it. It's not like it's super lightweight, but it is everything that I need for a couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be okay. So we are in the Q&A portion of the show. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here. Pull up the chat room here. Remember, if you're watching live, if you have a question, make sure you put @PhotoJoseph in front of the question. That way I see it in there. If you already typed your question and you didn't put that in, just copy and paste it in again at the end. Put @PhotoJoseph in front of it. That way I see it on my screen like you see here. Sarah says, have you considered head-mounted mics for this show? No. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't considered, but I know that I'm not going to use them. There's a very good reason for that. Well, there's a couple good reasons. Number one, I don't like having a thing just hanging out here. But number two, I used to actually use one. I have a very nice Countryman, yeah, I think it's Countryman mic that I used to use for all my theater stuff when I did theater presentations all the time. That was what I used. I had to stop using that once I grew a beard because the wire, the little line, rubs up against the beard there and you hear that noise through it. So I can't wear a head-mounted mic anymore. Now, without it being like something that goes around and then you look like Madonna on stage. I ain't doing that. No, the lav mic has worked out really, really well for me. So no, we'll stick with this. Cape Cod, you had asked before, will it pass for carry-on? Yeah, it's totally fine. And remember, I can, if necessary, I could take the camera bag portion off of it, and then it's now two pieces. Totally fine. No problem at all. SRO Digital says, are you hiring a Sherpa? No, I am the Sherpa. I am the Sherpa. Eshe says, did you find a traveling companion to carry your camera equipment? Nobody's coming with me on this trip, and that's just fine. That allows me to just really not have to worry about anybody else. It's just me traveling solo. Little confession here. I never did the backpack your way across Europe thing after high school or after college or whatever. I didn't do that. And I kind of wish that I had, right? It just didn't fit into my life at the time, or maybe it wasn't important. I don't know. Anyway, I never did that. And so this is like a very miniature version of that. I mean, I've actually never gone on a trip like this with just a backpack that wasn't a camping trip, right? That's camping stuff's different. But I've never done a trip like this with just a backpack. I'm really excited to see how this whole thing turns out. Now, this is not like roughing it. I mean, I'm staying in nice hotels. Let's be honest here. It's, it's going to be okay. But I do not have a second bag to carry, nothing dragging behind me on wheels, nothing in my hands. I'm really looking forward to this for that. I really, really am. So no, I am traveling on my own, but that's okay. Now remember, the whole purpose of this trip is scouting for the workshop that I'm doing next year, beginning of next year. That's the whole reason I'm doing this trip. And it's not just for that workshop, but for other workshops as well. So I'm doing 8 cities on this tour. In the workshop, we're doing 4, but New Delhi doesn't really count because it's just basically a stopover before we go home. So really, we're doing 3 cities on the tour in January and February of next year. The other cities that I'm looking at this trip are for future workshops. So that's the whole idea here. And there is still room on the January workshop if you want to come. Just go to photojoseph.com/India and learn all about that. As she says, would love to travel with you, trying for a future workshop now. Well, come on, join me. Sarah, for such long flights, are you changing your clothes while on the plane? I've heard that helps a bit, as well as having showers during layovers if possible. Okay, well, definitely not changing clothes, and I'm barely changing clothes on the entire trip, so I'm not going to start on the airplane. Showers are lovely if you can get them. I am not flying business class. I will not have access to lounges. You guys want to hear a story? It's the Q&A portion of the show. This is why I can take as long as I want. I used to fly a lot more. It seems most people who look at me today, look at my life today, think that I travel a lot. I really don't. I actually almost never make status on a single airline anymore. Where I used to have executive platinum on American, that's your top 100K miles flown per year status. I'm a million miler on American Airlines. But now I fly United because that's from the airport that I am here. That's where I get most of the flights. And I almost never get status. I actually will get status this year because of this trip. And it's, November. So, I almost never get status. But back in the day when I traveled all the time, and I had executive platinum, and I would fly economy or premium economy, and because of my status, I would quite often get upgraded. So I had, quite often get upgraded to business class, or if you're flying domestically, first class. I had a couple years where I think I flew economy once in a year because I was always getting upgraded domestically. Pretty good, right? So this goes back years and years ago. I was on a trip. This is when I was still at my formal job. And I was on a business class airfare that was a round the world ticket. I was on this big, huge, multi-week long trip. That's nice to be able to fly business class or something like that. And so I had access to the kind of premium lounge in most of the airports, and I was in the Hong Kong airport. And I had in the Hong Kong airport, I think it wasn't a layover. I think I was in Hong Kong for part of the tour and then flying home or something like that. Anyway, so I go into the Hong Kong lounge, and I had read that in the Hong Kong lounge there is a secret. Cathay Pacific, by the way, it's Cathay Pacific Lounge. That there is a secret room, these little cabanas that have like total private little space, decompression space, whatever you want to call it. But you have to know about it. You have to ask for it. Nobody tells you about it. And I read about it somewhere. And so I get to the Hong Kong airport, and I'm like, so I heard about these cabanas? And it's like I said the magic word. Oh, yes, sir, right this way. And the steward, or whatever, the person there, takes me through a hidden door in the wall. I swear to God, it's a hidden door in the wall. Opens it up, and it's this long hallway, and there's a bunch of doors flanking the hallway. Oh. Opens one of the doors. This one's for you, sir. It is a 2-room cabana. One of the rooms has a bathtub, a full-on bathtub, and there's a shower and a toilet and all that stuff. And the other room has kind of like a chaise lounge type of a thing. So you got this really long loungy area. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is kind of cool. And she says, if you need anything, just pick up the phone, whatever, call whatever food, drink you want. Okay, so I didn't have a lot of time, so I get a snack or whatever and kind of enjoying this. And then I found out my flight is delayed. It was like quite a bit, a couple hours. Oh, well, I got this room. I'm not going to give this up. So I drew a bath. Set up a bubble bath. Call in, ask for some champagne. So I'm on an airport layover, sitting in a bubble bath, drinking champagne. And now, at the time, I was dating the girl who's now my wife, Alenka. We were dating, and she is from Slovenia, and she was at work in Slovenia, and I'm in Hong Kong on layover. And I pull up my laptop, and I set it at the end of the bathtub, and I call her on Skype while she's at work. And she picks up the call, and she's like, what the hell? I thought you were flying. I'm like, flight delay, I'm taking a bath. So I had this bubble bath in the airport, conversation with her. Too funny. So anyway, so that was the best lounge ever. I'm sure it's still there because that was such a great lounge. Cathay Pacific in Hong Kong. If you're ever there, you're flying business or first class, you have access to the lounge. Ask for the cabanas. Of course, they might be renamed and totally different now. That was quite a while ago, but there you go. And then the final cherry on that whole trip was that final flight was delayed so many times that by the time we were taking off, we should have already been in San Francisco. This is from Hong Kong. I was very fortunate in that I had this lounge to hang out on the entire time. And this is like, they got full-on restaurant there. It's everything. It's like a little paradise. You don't need to leave. But I had kept going up to the desk every couple of hours. This is before iPhones even, I think. Like, what's going on? What's the status of the flight? And at one point, understandably, even though I'm sitting in a freaking bathtub, you get a little irritated with this extremely delayed flight. And I did that, executive platinum, flying business class around the world. What are you going to do for me to make this better? And he takes my ticket, and he looks at it, types something on the computer, tears up my ticket, hands me a new one. First class upgrade, sir. First class on Cathay Pacific is kind of nice. Anyway, so there's that very long rambling story. I hope you enjoyed that. Right, let's see here. Anything else going on in the chat? Amanda says, shame you can't legally bring and use a drone there. Where? India? I checked. India says drones were fine. If you know otherwise, tell me now, because otherwise I'm taking this. I got my drone right here. If I can't use it, I'm not going to take it. But from the research I did, it said India was fine. So Ananda, please clarify that. That would be very, very bad. Sarah says, thanks for the story. Well, you're quite welcome for the story. It was fun. I like telling that story. I think all my friends have heard that story by now. They're like, please, again. It's a good story. All right. Ananda, get me some information. Oh, it's SR Digital. Here we go. Let's bring this up here. There we go, SR Digital. So that's where Casey Neistat got his idea from for his most expensive plane ticket series. Yeah, right. Yeah, his ticket, those are pretty good. Man, yeah, when I was flying, that was long before, what's that airline? Emirates that does that. That has the whole suite thing, isn't it? That's cool. That'd be nice. But no, alas, I'm flying economy. Just bog standard in the back economy. I did manage to get aisle seats, which is what I prefer. I don't like windows. I don't like having to climb over people. I hate climbing over people. I'd rather just, I'll get up out of people's way. I do not like climbing over people, and I do not like asking people to get out of the way so I can get up and go to the bathroom. I like to get up a lot, walk around, stretch a whole bunch. Yeah, aisle seats for me. Okay. Ananda is not clarifying your comment, so Ananda, if you are still watching this, if you've just fallen asleep or something, let me know where you say you can't bring and use a drone, because like I said, as far as I know, it's for India, I can. That was my research, so, oh, there we go. Not at all, she says. Ooh, let's bring this up. It does have to be an Indian citizen, otherwise you cannot register a drone. However, a friend who somehow manages to sneak his Spark through customs. Huh. Okay. Do me a favor, Ananda. Drop me an email. Drop me a whatever. Just reach out to me. Twitter, PhotoJoseph on Twitter. Let's have this conversation a little bit more, because that is not what I have learned. But if you know this to be a fact, then that would be, whoa, I don't want to take this thing and not be able to fly it. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap up this show. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, I will, next time I see you, I'll be in India. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but somehow or another, I'll be in touch with you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.